things just went down as many players predicted. Black Friday, it came and went, and it was like a pin dropped. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out today for another video. I mean, right now, watching this video, it's Cyber Monday, but really, the nails have been put in the coffin for this year's Black Friday. A lot of players did not dive into this market the way certain LGS's distributors probably thought was going to happen. Now, I'll start this by letting you know the singles market was entirely different than what just happened with sealed product, and stores hoping to move single cards, they got their wish. A lot of single cards moved, whether that was trade, cash, a combination of everything. That worked fairly well for the overall market. But the sealed market, what you see behind you, this was an entirely different type of tombstone being laid down at what players believe is an overpriced market right now. And when players think it's overpriced, well, nothing gets bought or sold. It just sits there looking at you. No matter how good the deal is, nobody's touching it. Now, I kept records and sales on most of these stores that I follow, probably up into about 100 days before. And I checked in weekly to see how much product they had listed versus how much product moved. Now, at the time of Black Friday, we did see a little bit of sales happening on the Thursday before, but after that, whoever wanted it had already bought it, and nothing else moved all weekend long. Stores that had 100 boxes still have 100 boxes. Those stores that had 50 boxes, they still got 50. And I want you to remember this. They had 100 boxes when, say, a Spider-Man collector box was on for $6.99. They still have 100 boxes when the product's on for $5.49. Now, that tells you that even 150 bucks off, nobody's touching the product. Nobody wants to buy it. Nobody believes in it. Nobody is thinking about it other than to laugh a little bit and say, there's no way I am touching that sealed product. Now, unfortunately for everyone out there, this type of market is really bad for an LGS who's got a move product. It is very good for players who can hang on and wait and see what happens. Who've got a fire hot wallet with money in it. They're just not burning through it. They are waiting to see the fallout, the end result that happens in the new year, Boxing Day sales, the like. Because if stores can't move it, they don't have cash to move on to the next big thing. They can't dive into lore when eclipsed. This cascading kind of effect happens from set to set to set, and they start becoming really reliant on getting the pre-order money in for the next product. Now, this is where things get a little deja vu, a little Matrix-like. We've seen this all before, about 18 months ago. And it looks like we're heading right back in. No matter how we look at things in an open market like this, if players aren't buying, it shows up. Yes, there are always going to be some people buying. But when the vast majority of people say this product is overpriced, even if it's in a silent nod like, nobody's buying it, that tells you it's overpriced. Nobody's buying it. That tells you it's not at the right price point to have the audience decide it is worthy of their money. Now, this could be a contributing factor to why we're seeing prices in singles starting to dip so much. Players are just losing a little bit of faith, a little bit of confidence in the market right now. Wizards of the Coast has sent a whole bunch of product out to market, and it's not moving. When this happens, which brings us back to last week's video, when things just sit there, it is bad for an LGS, it is bad for distribution, it's bad for Wizards of the Coast. These products are going to have to be cleared out one way or the other. They can't sit on the shelves forever, and stores, they're not going to be the ones who want to absorb all the costs. But this is what happens when a store overcommits to a product line. Now, most of these LGSs I deal with are smaller LGS. These aren't huge LGSs that buy thousands of boxes. Yes, I'm in contact with some of the bigger players out there, but not as a whole. Most of the smaller LGSs are not being burned by this because they never went head over heels in love with any one product. They bought, they sold, they wait for the next product. The bigger stores that took a real risk on this one, they're the ones who are going to have to determine how low they're willing to go to clear the product out, or if they have enough cash flow to let these products sit on the shelves for years, slowly being, bought off or sold out or whatever, traded up to as the market decides it's worthy at that time to spend money on that product. We saw this with things like Ultimate Masters. We saw this with Theros Beyond Death. We saw this with the original Theros. Some of these products get so expensive too quickly that when the market decides it's no longer worth it, there's nowhere to backpedal to. There's nowhere to go back and retreat and say, this is the new baseline price, because we've already seen it at the baseline and it's still not selling. So then stores get really worried and they start dipping into the abyss. They go negative. They say, I've got to clear it out. I've got to get a certain amount of this product off my shelves so I have money to move into the next product. And yeah, they'll lose 50, 60, $100 a box if they have to, because freeing up the overall cash flow is more important than that 20% loss on any given product line. They've got to get that money moving into the next layer. But here's that thing. Here's that thing that we're all talking about and thinking about. If Black Friday didn't move anything, and now we're waiting for another 20% drop, if something's going to be $5.49, and you mark my words, any Canadian store that has it at $5.49, they're not raising it back to $6.99. Black Friday will end, and they're going to keep it at $5.49. They're just going to let it sit there like, yeah, it's just on sale for a longer period of time. That's what they have to do. As shady as it looks, it's what you have to do. Because then, Boxing Day, maybe they lower it to $4.99 a box. And they hope to move a couple of units. If that doesn't work, 6 to 7 weeks later, they're going to lower it down to $4.49. They will slowly do increments, little crash ship tests to see how low they have to go to move some of the product. If they move too many boxes too quickly, they will raise the price back up and try to mitigate some of the losses. This is how we have to move. But here's all the thing. We're talking about LGSs and losing money and nobody bought anything on Black Friday. Wizards of the Coast, this isn't their problem. This isn't them. They're just sitting there in the backdrop watching everything happen, and they're determining their next steps from the ivory tower. They are looking down on what is happening in the open market and saying, ooh, looks like we tried to cash in on too much here, everyone, and we're going to have to cut things back, slow things down. Yeah, we'll make them forget somehow. Just look, that's horrible down there. That's what they're going to do. And then when the next sets come out, they will lower production, they will tighten things up, they'll make the ship go a little bit right, and they'll fix things. At least as much as they intend on fixing anything that happens in this game. When the market gets really leery like this, they'll try to find the counterbalance to that. They'll add some spicy stuff to some upcoming sets. They'll maybe, do some trick pricing, which, doesn't really improve the pricing overall. They'll do just less of an increase, because this is what they do. They didn't tell those LGSs to buy this much product. They didn't tell distribution to carry that much product. They just sent it out into the aether to see what would stick, right? And this is what was decided at the time in the open market. And now it's going to go backpedaling. Will this hurt their bottom line? It's a good question. Usually this stuff will show up in the quarterly earnings. We'll have to wait and see for that one. But I just look at all this, and it starts with Spider-Man, and it's now just carrying through. Now, it doesn't mean that Avatar didn't sell well. It just didn't climb through the roof. It doesn't mean that you're not going to see Lorwyn do well. No, Lorwyn's going to do well. It's just not going to do well if it's $600 a box Canadian. It's going to have to stick to that $4.19 to $4.49 at max. And even then, you'll see decreased sales because there's a shakiness to the market right now. There's a little bit of a leeriness saying, oh, and that cold reception that you're seeing happen, that's because of how the market feels toward the overpricing they've seen on some of these products without enough return on investment in the value of the cards in the secondary market. They go hand in hand. They are going to have to deal with it. They just don't care enough to deal with it yet. They want to see how the market reacts. They want to see what the stores do. And isn't it funny that the stores are always the ones that get burned in the end? They're the ones who are going to have to take the hit. Now, at the same time, let's be honest, some of these stores jacked up the prices a lot. So some people out there are going to feel that they deserve it. But for the smaller LGSs, they kept everything pretty baseline, and in some cases didn't mark up products at all, just kept a really tight lid on what you could buy. I understand that. It's you know what? All good for most players in your area. I know. I've heard it. Saying our guys didn't jack up more than $50 a box. I get it, guys. Good stuff. So what will Wizards do? Will this cold reception continue? And how are players going to react when we start seeing other products come out with new price point? Because it's going to change. Stores are not going to charge what they're charging right now for things like Spider-Man, and The Hobbit will be the real telling tale. Will the market be able to turn things around at that point? I know it seems like it's forever away, but it's really not. The market doesn't move that way. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks for hanging out today. Ooh, it's a chilly market right now. Black Friday did nothing to warm things up. Talk to you soon. A big thank you and a shout out to the amazing patrons and supporters of my channel. Without those patrons, we wouldn't be doing this content the way we do. We wouldn't have contact with as many stores and retailers as we do right now. So thanks again to my patrons and my YouTube membership members for supporting this channel. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow with another video. Don't worry, we're here every single day. You know what's funny? When you've been in the game as long as some of us have, you'll see things like this, Theros Beyond Death. And I remember buying these from 401 Games for $149 Canadian per box. A lot of you guys remember I bought a couple of cases. I was able to sell these really cheap to a number of our parties because I picked up when no one else was buying. This kind of market, it's not over. Will it be that low? Probably not. But in comparison to inflation, everything's go, I'll expect to see some of these products on sale in the near future. Not every store can hang in there, and that allows some people to make a lot of money on these downturns we see in the markets themselves. Like when people don't believe, the money doesn't move. If the money doesn't move, somebody's always caught holding the bag. And then afterwards, when the market turns around a year or two from now, well, you see how things go. Guys, pay attention to that market. Deals will be around. Funny how none of it's affecting the reserve list right now. Just keep that in mind. Ramble in the jamble!